Performance max campaigns are amazing, right? Well, they can deliver exceptional results, but to do so, you need to optimize them correctly. And in this video, I'm going to share with you what we've learned optimizing hundreds of performance max campaigns for our clients and show you how to get the best possible results. So the first place I'd recommend you start when it comes to optimizing a Google Ads Performance Max campaign are the ads themselves. A lot of Google advertisers want to mess around with various settings associated with their ad campaigns and forget that the ads are the most important part. That's what your prospects see. That's what's going to either convince them to take action, to become a lead, to buy your product or not. So I recommend starting with the ads. And obviously Performance Max ads created through asset groups are more complex than other ad types. Let's say, for example, a responsive search ad that's only going to go out on the search network because there are so many more moving parts. There's lots of different asset types. Yes, you've got copy, you've got headlines and descriptions like a regular search ad, but you've also got images and video and all that sort of stuff. So that's the first thing I'd recommend you do. That's probably going to be your biggest bang for buck in terms of improving performance. I'm going to show you how we do that. So I'm in one of our Google Ad accounts. I've got a Performance Max campaign up here, one that's actually got quite a lot of data, spent close to $200,000 on this. What I want you to do is go ahead and click into asset groups when you're in your Performance Max campaign. And obviously you've got multiple asset groups. You can go through each one and do this. But you've got this asset group here. We want to go ahead and click on View Details. I'm just going to dismiss this warning. And then what we can see here are the various assets, and the data that I want you to really pay attention to is this performance column over here on the right-hand side, okay? So what I'm just going to do is going to sort by asset type. Oh, in fact, it already was. I'll click that back on. And then what we can do is we can see within the asset types, so for example, these top ones here, these are all headlines. We can see which ones are performing really well and which ones are not performing well at all. So you can see performance, we've got low, best, good. We've got these ratings to make it really quick and easy to see which is performing well. So what you want to do, you can do this for all the asset types. So headlines, you can take a look and see, okay, this one here that is best. What about that headline do we think is working well? Can we create other headlines that are similar to this one that are performing really well? And then do the opposite with low. Okay, what about this headline means it's not performing very well? Let's not create headlines that are like this going forward. And with headlines, you would do that with a regular responsive search ad. We've also got long headlines, we've got descriptions. You can go through and do the exact same process. But one of the things you need to do with Performance Max campaign, because you've got this ad within an asset group and there are lots of various elements, is you want to do that for all the different asset types. So not just your headlines, descriptions like you would in regular search campaigns, but also we've got landscape images here, for example. These are all rating as best, as are the square images, which is great. So obviously we're onto something here. These are working really well. But if we keep going, we get down here to YouTube videos. Now we can see that this video here is rating as best. This video here is low. This one also best, and these two low. So that gives us really good indication of, okay, if we want to create more videos to run ads on YouTube as part of our Performance Max campaign, then let's create more like this first YouTube video and this third YouTube video and less like the other three. And that's likely to improve performance. Perhaps, you could look at one and be like, okay, well, that one features customer testimonials. That's great. Let's look to incorporate that more. Or this one is a little bit longer and it's not performing as well. Okay, let's look to shorten it up. So some really, really useful data in here. You can also, by the way, click into columns and add in conversions by each individual asset and then your cost per conversion. So you get even more data. But to be honest, performance is often a good way to go in terms of giving you the information that you need to then be able to make decisions. You can also, of course, use this to pause underperforming elements. So stop running those as part of this asset group. And then obviously, like we've already mentioned, add in new ones. So a relatively quick and easy thing to assess. Obviously, it then takes some work because you've got to, when you're turning off the underperforming assets, you've got to create new ones to replace those with. But doing this repeatedly, how often depends on how much conversion data you're generating within this campaign. If you're generating hundreds of conversions a day, you could be looking to do this every few days. If you're generating only a handful of conversions a week, you're probably going to want to do this on a fortnightly, maybe even a monthly basis. But going through and repeatedly doing this can massively improve the quality of the assets within your Performance Max campaign, which remember is the parts that your prospects see and the parts that they engage with. And that can have a huge impact on your results over time. So something definitely worth doing. Now, the next thing I would look at is your bidding strategy. When you first set up your Performance Max campaign, you probably set it up to optimize for conversions. But if you've got some conversion data now, it's been running a little while, it might be a good idea to switch over and optimize for conversion value instead and set a target ROAS. So let me quickly show you how you go about doing that. So I'm back in the overview of this Performance Max campaign, the same one we were talking about a minute ago. And if I go ahead and click on this here and then click edit campaign, and then if we scroll down to this budget and bidding section and I click on this, we will see that this Performance Max campaign is already set up to maximize conversion value. But if I click on change bidding strategy, you will see that conversions is the other option, and you may well have conversions selected by default. That's what a lot of people will do when they first create Performance Max campaigns. Now, the reason why you want to go with conversion value instead is because when you go with conversion value, Google will prioritize those conversions which are worth more to your business than others. Now, this won't apply to every single business because some businesses, you only have the one type of conversion and they're all worth the same amount. But most businesses will have varying conversions and varying values associated with those conversions. So if you're an e-commerce business, some people might come through and purchase $20 worth of product. Some people might purchase $200 worth of product. If you're a service-based business, perhaps someone becomes a lead for one service that is worth far more than becoming a lead for another service, which is worth far less. And you as an advertiser, as a business owner, you're going to be happier to pay more for the conversions that are worth more. With conversion value, that's what Google's going to be able to do. They're going to optimize for that, whereas with conversions, they're just going to try and get you as many conversions as possible, which often means promoting your less expensive products and services, and that might not produce the best return on ad spend. On top of that, you can set a target return on ad spend. You can see that's optional. We've done that in this account. We've set that at 250%. It's important if you do this to use a realistic number. Of course, we would all like a return on ad spend of, 10,000%, but that's highly unlikely to happen, and Google's not going to be able to optimize for it properly. But once you've got some conversion data, you've got a realistic understanding of, okay, what can we generate consistently with this ad campaign for this particular business. We feel like 250% is reasonable and gives us a good balance of being able to spend a good amount. This campaign's operating with quite a healthy budget and scale versus still maintaining a target ROAS that is nicely profitable. If we were to increase that target ROAS, we probably wouldn't be able to spend as much whilst achieving that. So set something there in your target ROAS that's realistic. It's going to help Google optimize the campaign. It's going to help you get more consistent results. This is a relatively quick and easy thing to do. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this if you don't have much conversion data within your Performance Max campaign, but once you do, go ahead and do this and you'll likely see an improvement in your results. Now, if you would like a Google Ads expert to just do all this for you, that's exactly what my company does. We create, manage, and optimize Google Ad campaigns for our clients. We get the better results than if they manage it themselves, and we take that workload off their hands so they can focus on other areas of their business. If that sounds like a good deal, you can go ahead and click on the link in the video description below. That'll take you through to a page on our website. You could book in a free, no obligation call with one of my team members to find out more about how we might be able to help. Hopefully, we get a chance to work together. So the next thing I would look at when it comes to optimizing your Performance Max campaigns is how Google is spending your budget in terms of what proportion is being spent on new customer acquisition, cold audiences, versus what proportion is being spent on warm audiences or existing customers. It's actually one of the common complaints with Performance Max is that Google will spend too much money on remarketing. They'll spend too much money on your existing audience, not enough finding new people. Now, Google does that because early on when you launch a Performance Max campaign, that's going to get you the best results. If Google puts a high proportion of your budget in front of people that have either already interacted with your business or already bought from you previously, those are the ones that are most likely to convert. That gets you the better return on ad spend. That makes you happy as an advertiser, makes it more likely that you're going to spend more, continue to advertise, all the things that Google wants us to do. And that is often why advertisers will see great results early on with their Performance Max campaigns, but sometimes results can start to drop off because if you're spending a lot of money on remarketing on those warm audiences, well, those audiences are finite. And if you continue to advertise to the same group of warm audience again and again and again, obviously results are going to drop off. So you do actually have quite a bit of control over this as an advertiser within your Performance Max campaign. So I'm still within the settings of this Performance Max campaign here. I'm just going to minimize this bidding section. What we're going to do here is we're going to go up here into this customer acquisition section. And you can set this up when you create a new campaign, or you can come in and optimize it here. So the default, if I minimize that actually, the default here is bid equally for new and existing customers. Like I said, sometimes that means that Google's going to spend too much on existing customers. And businesses in general are usually willing to pay a bit more for new customers because they know that it's a bit more costly. And at some point you need to generate new customers, right? So what we can do here is we can come in and we can tick this option here that says optimize campaign for acquiring new customers. And then there are basically two options here. So the extreme version is just to go with only bid for new customers, like stop remarketing, stop putting my ads in front of existing customers. You've done that already, or we're getting those people through other marketing channels like email and SMS marketing and things like that. We don't need to be spending our Google Ads budget on those people. And so you can come in and just go ahead and select that only bid for new customers. That is likely to cause an increase in your cost per conversion, a decrease in your return on ad spend, but it's something that you can do. Or you can go with this hybrid option here, which is usually what I would recommend, and that's bid higher for new customers than existing customers. So what you can effectively do here is say to Google, look, I'm happy for you to still put ads in front of existing customers, but I'm only willing to pay up to this much to get a conversion from those existing customers. I'm actually willing to pay more to get a conversion from someone brand new, because it's important I bring new people in because we can remarket and sell to them again and all that sort of stuff, right? So the way this works is that once you select bid higher for new customers than for existing customers, you then need to enter in a value here, assuming you haven't already done so. So edit value here. And then if we just scroll down, we've obviously got our audience segment of purchasers. Google needs to be able to see our previous purchases. So this up here needs to be set up. Assuming that is, you've then got additional conversion value from new customers. So here Google has estimated that we might be willing to pay an extra $47.96 to acquire a new customer as opposed to an existing customer. And they give this little graphic here, right? So we're saying existing customer value, if you can get someone to make a purchase, $72.66. Again, Google has brought this through based on the data that's within this campaign. New customer value, we're willing to pay that much more to acquire new customers. So obviously you can adjust this depending on your business and what you think is reasonable. Just know that new customers, if you want Google to be more aggressive on that front, they are going to be more expensive to put ads in front of. But if you have had a Performance Max campaign that was performing well and results have dropped off, it might be because they're remarketing a bit too heavy, and you can look to affect that balance by coming in and changing this, and that might get you better results and allow you to run this Performance Max profitably for much longer. The next thing when it comes to optimizing your Performance Max campaigns is to have a look at your insights. And specifically what we're looking at here is our keywords and our audience segments. So I'm back into the overview of this Performance Max campaign we've been using the whole time. If I go ahead and click in here on Insights and Reports and then Insights, and we can look at 7 days, or we could change that to 28 days. Got a bunch of data in here. What I want you to do is scroll down to this section here. And again, we can do, search terms insight. We've got 7 days versus last 28 days. Is here we can see various search terms. We've got 460 of them, only 5 displayed, but we could obviously have a look at a lot more. And we can sort these by conversion value as they are here by default. And that'll give you a really good idea of like what search terms are leading to a lot of conversion value. And does that mean that there are search terms that come up that you weren't expecting? You can have a look at this and potentially add new ones into the setup of your Performance Max campaign so that Google can more specifically target them. Now, obviously with a Performance Max campaign, you give keywords as sort of suggestions and Google's able to go out and use those, but target a lot of others, and that's the flexibility that comes with a Performance Max campaign. But if you find really good options here, you can look to go ahead and manually add those in, and that can help improve performance. Something I'd recommend doing semi-regularly within your Performance Max campaign. And if we go down, we can do the same thing within audience segment sections, much in the same way. It's all to do with targeting. So we can see here that we've got a number of audience segments. There's 13. We've got their index to see how much better they perform for us than the average, and really useful information. And what you've got up here is how these perform based on conversions, clicks, or impressions. Now you only see this conversions tab once you've generated enough conversions data. So in a Performance Max campaign that's newer, you will only see clicks and impressions. And really, ideally, you'd want to base any optimizations or changes around targeting on the conversions data, because that's the most important thing. Sometimes looking at click data, particularly impression data, can be misleading, thinking, oh, this gets lots of clicks. Yeah, but does it actually get lots of conversions, which is what your business really wants? And then we can see these various audience segments, right? And maybe there are ones that come up here that we weren't expecting. So signal are ones that we've suggested to Google, and then optimized are ones that Google has found and added in and thinks that is really applicable to our target audience and that's getting good results. And again, we've only got 5 results, but we could see more. And you might see some really interesting stuff from these optimized ones, and you might want to specifically go in and add those in. That might inform future campaigns, future Performance Max campaigns, because there's all sorts of things that are likely to come up there that you weren't necessarily expecting. There often are with Performance Max campaigns. Again, the audience segments that you select and enter into a Performance Max campaign, just like with keywords, they are suggestions. Google has the ability to go out and find others, but where we can give Google more targeted information to help with that optimization process, the better, because at the end of the day, that's going to get us better results. So worth coming in here, just like with the keywords and the search terms, and doing this semi-regularly and potentially adjusting things, or at least using that information to inform future Performance Max campaigns. So you now know how to optimize your Performance Max campaigns on Google, but is your landing page fully optimized? In this video, I show you how to fully optimize your landing pages and your website for the best possible results. Google advertisers understandably focus all their time and attention on the Google Ad platform, but by doing so, they often neglect their landing pages, which is a big mistake. Go ahead and check it out.